Okay, coaches. Thanks for joining us tonight. A few rules. I'm expecting more coaches to jump on here as we go along. So just so we can be somewhat organized, Coach has a couple of questions he's going to get addressed early on than he got through email and through Dumb Coach. But when you want to ask a question, if you could just down in the chat window down towards the bottom left hand corner of your browser, type in a Q there, and that'll notify me that you're ready to ask a question, and then I'll keep track of who's in line, and then when you're ready to go, I'll just call your name, and you can ask whatever question. You can continue, any trains of thoughts you might have. So hopefully that makes sense, but that way we'll stay somewhat organized. So, Coach, go ahead and take off if you like.
Okay. So we've got two questions right off the bat. One of them was, have you ever coached this at the fourth grade level? And I would say, no, I've never coached this at the fourth grade level, but I have coached this at the second grade level. And I'm getting ready to coach this at the third grade level. The main age group I've coached this at is between fifth and eighth grade. And I've done that 3 times. The last time being at Prince of Peace, which was a Catholic private school, in a pretty competitive league, and a lot of those teams actually ran spread or some variation of the Texas spread. So I got my full share of having to face that with this defense. At the second grade level, the teams that we played last year, although we're in a rec league, there's one Wyatt double wing and one power I offense that's really, really well coached, as well as having some really nice kids on the team. And then the Irish are really well coached, and they've got some really nice sized kids and some really good athletes. So although it's a rec league, we're pretty competitive. And then there's a couple of teams in the league that are struggled along with us this year. We actually ended up last year combining teams with another team, and I had a lot of issues with the former head coach from there, and I just was able to drop all that baggage this year. So now that all cleaned up, hopefully we can start focusing on football this year. But that was my experience last year with second graders, which was an interesting experience just with that age group. With the fourth graders, I've done some clinics with some coaches with fourth grade teams, and both of those teams went on to be really successful. One of them went into their league championship, which was a rec league, and then the other team played in a kind of a semi-select league. I don't know really how to describe it, but they were in West Texas, and they played in a kind of a township league, if that makes any sense, and they were pretty competitive, but I wouldn't call them select. So they were kind of in between select and rec, and they did really well. As a matter of fact, 2 of the teams they faced, one of the assistant coaches for Texas Tech actually coached that team, and then one of the other teams was coached by an assistant high school coach who ran spread, and they did real well against both of those teams, beating them both. And then later on, I think they went in the championship, and the team that was coached by the high school team, which I want to say it wasn't Odessa Permian, but it was one of those townships out there, they ended up getting beat by that team in the championship game, but they lost by like 4 points, so it was like a shootout. So that's my experience with the fourth graders. Another coach asked me what was the oldest level I've coached with as far as the 63 defense, and 8th grade is the oldest I've coached it. But I have done 2 clinics with 2 freshman teams. One was for the not the Oklahoma School for the Blind, but there was a school for the blind. It might have been Arkansas, and then there was another team, the private school team out of Oklahoma, and I cannot remember their name now. But they were 9th grade teams that I did clinics for, and they ended up using it just how I would have taught it, where the defensive ends are really playing as pure linebackers. So it really turns it into a 45 front. So that is my experience. But at Prince of Peace, we played that defense from 5th grade all the way up to 8th grade.